Welcome back to Cozy Couch Contingencies, the podcast where two BCBAs grab a blanket, get comfy, and dive into some of our favorite ABA topics.
I'm Melissa.
And I'm Krista. And today we're talking about one of our favorite things, the A in ABCs.
That's right, antecedents. Because instead of waiting for challenging behaviors to happen, we like to focus on being proactive rather than reactive.
My favorite saying, let's be proactive, not reactive.
Same. So how do we become proactive and not reactive? Well, we look specifically at the antecedents because who doesn't love setting the stage before the behavior can happen?
I know I do. So let's start at the foundation. An ABA, an antecedent, is simply what comes right before the behavior. It could be a demand, a change in the environment, a look from someone, or a loud noise.
Right. So antecedents come before behavior, which means strategies come before the behavior.
What is an antecedent strategy and what does it look like?
Oh, to answer the first part, an antecedent strategy, by definition, is an intervention that is put in place to modify the environment prior to behavior beginning. For the second part, it can be something as simple as turning the lights down, or a little more complex like creating a visual schedule or providing models.
Okay, so my next question for you, Alyssa.
Keep them coming.
How do we know what antecedent strategy would work in a specific case?
Ooh, you're asking tough questions. I see.
I am.
So figuring out what antecedent strategy would work is a little bit more complicated. There are two things that you can do. First, of course, collect ABC data.
Of course, got to start there.
That's always the first step.
Always.
When any behaviors are in question. Second, you can conduct an FBA. Either way, hypothesizing the function of behavior is the first step.
Yeah, I love me some ABC data.
Oh, same.
I'm going to collect that.
So now I have some questions for you.
All right. Guess it's fair after my questions.
It is. So my first question for you, once you hypothesize the function of the challenging behavior, what's the first thing you do?
Spread the news. No, I'm just kidding. But honestly, I kind of do sometimes.
Yeah.
Once I look at the data, I talk to the team or any of the stakeholders involved, and I want to make sure that they are understanding what is going on. So I'll break down the behaviors that we are targeting and explain why each one of them is happening. I'll also talk about why it is being maintained, and then discuss what we can kind of do instead.
Perfect. So next question.
Right.
How long does it take for the antecedent strategy to work?
Oh, goodness. My least favorite question I probably get asked.
Fair.
Just like everything else in ABA, we cannot put a timeline on it. That's not something we do. That is something we cannot guarantee. But the hopes is that you will see changes sooner than later. And if the antecedent strategy is put in place and is consistently being used, hopefully you'll kind of start seeing those changes. And we also need to make sure that the hypothesized function was correct. Because if we're not using the correct function, the antecedent strategy may not work in some of those cases. So if you aren't seeing the changes, you may need to add another strategy or change some things up.
It's a really hard question to answer.
It is. That's why I went on a little rant. Sorry.
It's fine.
So I feel like now that we've talked about an antecedent strategy, though, let's talk about some real-life scenarios and what antecedent strategies we could use.
Ooh, let's do it.
All right. So, Alyssa, you have a client that every time their parent cooks dinner, they throw a tantrum. You collect ABC data and figure out that the hypothesized function of the tantrum behavior is attention. So what is a strategy you would put in place?
Well, since they're looking for that attention, I think I would end up putting in a place where they actually help make the dinner. Maybe they participate together, and rather than just kind of excluding them from, doing it together, you put them in the situation and work together.
I love that. What a fun little antecedent strategy.
Now a scenario for you.
All right.
You have a student that engages in refusal behavior every time there is a math quiz or a test. Previous academic testing has shown that the student is on grade level, so he can do the work. He's capable.
All right.
You collected the ABC data as there is a quiz or test once a week, and you've hypothesized the function is escape. What strategy would you put in place?
I feel like I've been here a few times.
Yeah.
Potentially even today.
Oh boy.
So I would recommend that the student only does a certain amount of problems and demonstrate that by highlighting them so that they know which ones to complete, because if you don't do that, then they can be like, well, I don't know which ones I'm doing. So you want to make sure you highlight them, they know which ones they're supposed to do, and you can also give them the choice to take the test in a different space. We have our kids come down to our room sometimes, and they can take them down there. There's less distractions, less noises, less everything going on. So sometimes it's easier to do that.
Yeah, something simple that can be implemented and may help decrease that refusal behavior.
Yeah. So let's talk about some more generalized antecedent strategies now. So what are some of your go-to ones that you put in your plans?
Oof, that one's a good one. I love that. One of my favorites is priming. So letting someone know what's coming next, whether it's a schedule, a heads up, a little before transition, or even just, hey, 2 more minutes and then we're cleaning up.
Love that.
Yep.
Another one for me is choice making. You will see this in every behavior support plan I write.
Me too.
Do your worksheet. If you say that, guess what? They're going to be like, no, I'm not doing it. If you say you want to start with odd or evens, or you want to say, do you want to start at the beginning or the end?
Yeah.
What does it really matter?
Yeah.
You're getting the same outcome by giving them a choice instead.
Yeah, I love that. There's also the environmental arrangements. That's also really helpful, like putting the preferred toy just out of reach so a child has to feel gets motivated for it. And then they decide to request it.
Yes.
Or setting up workspace so distractions are minimized. Makes a difference.
It really does. Love taking everything off the desk.
Yep.
And then another one I love to talk to people about, because I think it's so easily forgotten, is building behavior momentum. It is definitely something that people don't realize how effective it can be, especially in the moment, but you're getting to that end goal eventually. So start with easy tasks and work your way up to harder ones. It can reduce frustration. You can get buy-in, and a lot of the times you can get kids to do what you need them to do in that moment.
Oh, 100% agree. That's a good one. And non-contingent reinforcement is always a good one, too. Setting up those times where a person gets that one-to-one attention they're looking for and don't have to earn it. Just making that fun time.
Hands down, one of my favorites. And you will definitely hear me training on that frequently when I am doing trainings and in all my plans. I just feel like for kids that are really looking for that attention, giving them that piece of connection and giving them the chance to build those relationships is just so important.
Oh, totally agree. So what's the big takeaway here? Antecedents are powerful. They're about setting the stage for success.
Yeah, and if you're looking at a new challenging behavior, look at the antecedents like they're puzzle pieces. If we only look at what happened after, not what became before, we only have one piece of the puzzle. We don't have the whole puzzle.
Exactly. When we focus on only the consequences, we're constantly playing catch up, which can kind of feel kind of icky. So where if we focus on antecedents, we can prevent the problem behavior before it even starts.
Yes, because let's be proactive, not reactive.
That's the best saying.
It really is. So that's it for today's episode, the Antecedent Advantage. Next week, we are diving into pairing.
Woo-hoo!
Because it's not just for wine and cheese.
Definitely not.
And it's something essential for what we do with clients, parents, teams, and even people in our everyday life.
Yeah. So until then, stay cozy, stay curious, and stay compassionate.
And cheers to Cozy Couch Contingencies.